Hello, everybody. How are my disruptors doing this evening? Happy to be back Thursday night. It means music news, not for profit updates. And we'll just shoot the shit. How's everybody's week going? Everybody else have a basement leak? Got a call from my parents yesterday, and their basement flooded because of the storm. And then when I woke up this morning, our basement had flooded. Good to see you, Brooksy. How's your week going, buddy? You've been pumping out that wood shop, man. So yeah, a lot of music news this week. Got a lot of stuff going. So let's just get right into that. Yeah. Anyways, the flood. I got like there was our friend brought over this like giant industrial fan, and when I mean giant industrial fan, I mean the biggest industrial fan I've ever seen in my life. And it was just like a jet engine going off in our basement all day. And I was like, fuck, I'm not going to be able to do this tonight because when I tested it out, it was like picking up on the microphone. And I was like, shit, but it dried up. So they turned it off. And so now we're going, which is awesome. I hope everybody else's basement is dry. So let's get over here into the news section. So I covered this. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but one of the latest Ticketmaster things was Robert Smith from The Cure, kind of going at Ticketmaster about the fees and everything. So I just want to go back again to something I covered before as well. And it is this one here. This was an article from the ex-CEO and founder of Ticketmaster. And I just want to go down here because there was something he said. Like this whole article was basically just him, passing the buck on everything that's wrong with the music industry. He blames the fans for like downloading music. He blames the venues for charging venue rent fees, and basically just anybody else other than Ticketmaster. So I want to go down here to something he said in this interview. Right here. So she asks, so we as fans then be demanding of the artists, not smaller acts, but the big acts, that they should say no to dynamic pricing and verified resale. And then he responded, I would say that in the end, the anger is misplaced because let me ask you this question. Who's the recipient of all the money? Follow the money. Who's the recipient? The recipient is the act. So again, this is just Ticketmaster passing the buck on to everyone else. But let's go down to here. And you'll see, so 4 tickets for the Cure show is $80. That's $20 a piece, right? But then when you add on the service fees and the facility charges, it's coming up to over the price of the ticket. So when he says follow the money, it's quite obvious that it's not just going to the act, that it's going to, wherever these service fees go. These are directly to Ticketmaster. Facility charges. I don't know how much of that goes to the venue. Like I'd have to see each individual contract, but a lot of the times Ticketmaster is an owner of the venue via Live Nation, who is their parent company. So it just goes to show that, like, you can't trust these people. I saw the Live Nation Ticketmaster hearing, And they just denied everything and basically said that they were so innocent in all of this and not responsible for the ticket prices and everything. But when the Cure tries to sell $20 tickets and give the fans something that's affordable, accessible to people of all financial demographics, that these fees and everything just go through the roof. Now, one can argue, the facility fees need to be there because the venue needs to be able to keep their lights on and everything like that. But like the ticketing fees, that's where it really gets weird because like how much does it like one, they not only charge the processing fee, and they make Ticketmaster makes money off of processing fees, but then they're also making money off of these like administrative whatever fees in that breakdown as well. So, they're like I've seen the processing fees upwards of like $5, where I think the most expensive processing fee is I think it's American Express, I want to say. And that's I think somewhere between like 250 and 350, I want to say. I can't remember the exact number, but so they're already making money on that, and then they're also making money off the fees. Seems almost fixed, Brooksy says. Fictional costs. Yeah, like it's, they're, you know, I guess like, people like Ticketmaster needs to make money, but it's just like it would be so much easier if we were to just kind of like come up with this game plan collectively as an industry and say, all right, so the venue fee is going to be sorted out prior to these tickets going on sale. It's going to, if the venue costs $2,000 to rent, then that's going to be worked out between the artist and the promoter to pay that, and all like you can just wave bye to that fee. That doesn't have to be in there. And then as far as like ticketing goes, why not just say like no more than like $5 per ticket or something like that. It's just like make it simple. We don't need this, like all it is all these fees and different ways of pricing. It's all just so they can control and manipulate the uh, demand of tickets by putting little blocks of tickets on sale at a time to sell those out, inflate the costs, pretend the demand is higher than it actually is. So I just wanted to bring up those articles that I have spoken about before, but just kind of go into more depth when I catch these motherfuckers in lies. All right, let's get back to the next one here. Do. So this was pretty interesting. I think I spoke about this like a little bit. I think last week or the week before, when we were talking about all of these like one-time fees for like buying a program and getting uh, access to that program for a lifetime, and now everything is going to like a monthly fee. So you don't really own anything; you're just like leasing it or renting it. So Waves audio, which is um, like a DAW for music recording, and a lot of different musical plugins. So they were going to cancel their lifetime purchase and move on to a monthly subscription program. And the community just revolted. They got their pitchforks out and they were like, fuck no, we're not going to do this. We bought this. We want support for this thing that we bought. And Waves caved, and they changed it back. And not only did they change it back, for the people who had already purchased it, they're going to be keeping that one-time purchase program on. Um, at least that's what they're saying now. But I thought that was really cool that the community kind of, said, no, this is bullshit. Like, we bought this, you owe us this. I remember there's been a few times where I've bought digital items. One was the Sony Sony PlayStation digital downloads, and the other was Nintendo digital downloads. Um, so I bought these digital assets being like, sweet, now I'll have Mario forever. And instead of like buying Mario on the Nintendo, buying Mario on the Wii, buying it on whatever new console came out. And every year they kept saying, oh, they're going to like put the back catalog on. So your purchases, will be good for the next console. And it just like never had happened. It never happened. I think it wasn't until PlayStation 4 um, that they did put the back catalog on, and Nintendo still hasn't done it. Now, Nintendo, if you want to play any of these games, digital games that you have already purchased, you now need to purchase a uh, monthly subscription or whatever. So it's with this digital age where we're purchasing a digital copy of something, like I don't know how they can change the rules to kind of say, okay, here's this thing, you can buy it for life, and then they just like pull the rug out and then charge you more money for it in the future. I don't get how that works. um I like it just makes absolutely no sense to me. Venues could do their own tickets. I mean, yeah, they could. They easily could. The problem with that though is um, I guess from the consumer standpoint, I think people want to have, kind of like a trust, even if it's not trusted, they just want to see it's like big, so they they want to see um something that other people are using. I find a lot of the times when and there are like studies on this where if somebody goes to purchase something and then they're redirected to a site that they've never been to, it's it they don't trust it because they've never seen it before. But when you see something like Ticketmaster, it's like, okay, like even though they're shady as hell, um it's like you can trust that you're not going to get your credit card information stolen at the very least, right? So I think that's why a lot of venues rely on someone like Ticketmaster to do these things, and hopefully they'll use this not-for-profits ticketing solution in the future because it's just a much nicer way of doing business. But yeah, for sure. And a lot of venues do sell their own tickets. Like I have seen, venues that have their own websites. They sell their own tickets. And it works. But I think for like large concerts, people kind of seem to, you know, want to go with someone they trust. And I'll get more into this in a little bit because I do have a news article that very much related to um, this kind of thing, what I'm talking about. What happened to Base? It was a ticket outlet. I don't know what's happened to Base. There are a lot of ticketing companies out there now. I have spoken on a bunch of them, and right now, SeatGeek would probably be the one of the bigger ones, as well as Eventbrite is pretty popular now. There are other options other than Ticketmaster, but I find they're all birds of a feather. They're all pretty much the same. And if SeatGeek was as powerful as, say, Ticketmaster, I'm sure they would use the same tactics that Ticketmaster does with, trying to like eliminate competition, buy competition, all that kind of stuff. It's just like it's the way capitalism works. That's why my not-for-profit platform, is here to change that and put the artists first, put the people who are working the event first, and of course the consumers and the fans, and not putting all these lining the pockets of shareholders. Okay, let's get into the next one. So, lobby group calls for CRTC to implement indigenous music quota. Um, so it says a lobby group charged with the dissemination of Indigenous culture joined a growing number of voices calling on the Canadian Radio, Television, and Telecommunications Commission, the CRTC, to impose a 5% quota for Indigenous music on broadcasters. And then it goes on to say, it basically goes on to say that, like, while Indigenous music is gaining popularity in Canada, is getting a lot of attention on like award shows and things like that. It seems that radio is and probably television is not as relevant in promoting Indigenous music. So this group is, here to, kind of add to the regulations that the CRTC has with Canadian broadcasters, in that they're like, I forget what it is, 20% Canadian content. Out of that 20%, 5% of that 20% would have to be Indigenous content. Which is a great step in the right direction. Uh, One of my favorite music documentaries is called Rumble, and it goes into detail on the, I guess, inspiration, creation of blues, rock and roll, pop music. And a lot of people, when they talk about the birth of the blues or the birth of rock and roll, historically, um, it's been, at at the beginning was, promoted by white people, Elvis Presley, blah blah blah, Led Zeppelin. But behind that were all these black artists that kind of created these sounds, and they were very much in the background. They weren't promoted, and oftentimes left out of financial deals. So Rumble took a look into Indigenous music rhythms and was linking that to the blues. And they were talking about these relationships between Black people and Indigenous people, back before blues uh, and kind of started coming onto the radio. And this documentary just really dives into uh, all of the ways that Indigenous people have shaped modern day music. And it's a great watch. You should really, really watch it. And I really think that something like this, with the CRTC, would be a great step in the right direction. Especially with our promises for reconciliation. It would be a really good step to kind of get some light onto that community that's been so being a cornerstone of blues and rock and roll, and now all genres of music. I see with Indigenous acts, like all sorts of like hip hop and dance and blues and rock and folk and country and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I really, really think that that's a great step in the right direction. I was getting caught up on chat here. What's the CanCon percentage? That's a good question, Brooksy. Give me a second here. I'll look it up. What is the Canadian? So, all right. So it's a little bit there. There's two parts. So let me just make sure I get this information correctly here. This isn't a really good breakdown. So the CRTC presently requires that at least 55% of all programming aired annually by broadcast television stations and at least 50% of programming aired daily from 6 p.m. to midnight must be Canadian content. That was the two parts. It was the time. So between 6 p.m. and midnight, they require that at least 55% of programming be Canadian content, and I'm sure there's more information, like if it's just like produced by a Canadian or you know has a Canadian in it. But yeah, so 55%, and I believe that was just lowered. Yeah, it used to be 60%. Now it's 55%. It is a lot, and for some, and somehow we're still like dominated by American culture somehow, it seems, whenever, you know, you know, movies and like all of the TV that we see is, American, it seems. I should do a deep dive into the CRTC. Maybe we can do that next week. Kind of see, because it'd be interesting too, because now with all these like streaming platforms and stuff, like where like if they have any kind of sway into that, because I know we have like Netflix Canada, and like our Canadian Netflix is different than say American Netflix, so it'd be interesting to see what the laws are around that. Can't get enough of them cop shows. I fucking hate those shows, man. I can't stand those shows. I think I watched one cop show that I really liked. What was it called? Um, it was about like the two FBI officers that started the um, profiling unit of the FBI. Um, Reno 911. Yeah, that show is really funny. But yeah, can't stand cop shows. And the hospital shows. Oh my god, fucking garbage, man. Just swill. Anyways, so this is do a little backtrack here to what we were talking about before with trusted payment options and why people kind of gravitate towards buying something from Ticketmaster when you could easily have another option. It's like so easy to make an e-commerce website these days, and so this is why a lot of venues don't do it. And it goes into the trust thing of the consumer. But so Live Nation and PayPal sign a multi-year deal to expand simple and secure payments for fans buying tickets worldwide. Um, So this is really interesting. I don't know too much about this. I don't know too much about PayPal, to be honest. I've never used PayPal. I've always just used like a credit card or whatever for online purchases. Um, but I'm definitely going to dive into this more and do some more research on it, because I'm sure PayPal is, dabbling in Web3, which is going to make, you know, uh, get out of here. I don't want any of you. I fucking hate these things. No, no, no. So, do. Fans will benefit from the option to use a one-time login. Ooh. Um, Here we go. Our goal is to seamlessly connect artists and event organizers with fans wherever they are in the world, and PayPal helps us to take that to the next level with a truly global reaching payment solution. This partnership gives fans continuity and confidence that they have a secure, trusted, and accessible payment method wherever they are in the world. Um, what else does it say here? It doesn't say anything about PayPal has remained at the forefront of the digital payment revolution for more than 20 years by leveraging technology to make financial services and commerce more convenient, affordable, and secure. The PayPal platform is empowering hundreds of millions of consumers and merchants in more than 200 markets to join and thrive in the global economy. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I- it's I really wish there was more information in that article. I would love to know what PayPal is doing about, Web3 and like secure tickets and how they can help with ticket transferability and to um, curb scalpers and resellers and all that kind of stuff. It'd be, but anyway, like, just like the Live Nation Ticketmaster merger, now we got a partnership with one of the largest e-commerce giants. It's just, more and more market dominance, all these huge giant tech companies merging and partnering. It's fucking crazy. All right. And then let's go in here. Boom, boom, boom. So this is an article from Alan Cross. And he says, here's proof that there's just too much music being made, way too much. This was a really interesting article. There's some really interesting. I love how Alan Cross like dives into the numbers. He's always like got like really great backup of everything he's saying. Um, so we'll just say record stores were wondrous places. The biggest ones like Sam the Record Man on Young Street, might stock. Give me a second here. Got to sneeze. Nope. Okay. Um, Anyways, so a large record store might have 100,000 titles or more. And then it says, then came the internet, and he went on to say that his friend boasted that he had 40,000 songs in his pocket. And then he goes on to say the era of streaming platforms and digital distributors like CD Baby, and what were the other ones here? Do do do. Oh, it doesn't even say. Oh yeah, TuneCore, DistroKid, CD Baby, um, are like, you know free or like a very small fee to like publish your music and like get it on all these streaming platforms. So like the barrier to entry is like way 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 lower than it used to be, which is a great thing, but it's just like it means there's a lot more music now. Um, so it says music distribution has been democratized. Artists were in charge of their own destinies and not beholden to some record company. Great, right? And then he says, well, hang on. So Luminate, a company that tracks worldwide consumption of music and follows the habits of music fans, looked at an international standard recording code is assigned to every song that gets released, kind of like a Dewey Decimal System, like in a library. Um, so Luminate published data this month that shows somewhere around 98,500 were uploaded to digital distributors each day. So 100 going from like 100,000 records in a store to 100,000 uploads each day is fucking crazy. A total of 34.1 million songs were uploaded in 2022. Today we have the equivalent of a jukebox that holds 196 million songs and videos, and the number keeps climbing every second. And then he says, what happens to all these songs? In the case of about 20% of them, 39.2 million tracks, or roughly one for each living person in Canada, nothing. They're completely lost and never even heard by anyone. They're just uploaded. So it's really interesting to, to see how much music is on there. When I open my Spotify, it's like, obviously just still the stuff that they're promoting, that these like Warner, Universal, and like Sony are spending the money on advertisements. Those are the things that you're going to see when you open up your Spotify, right? It's so funny. Like when I open up my Spotify, it's like, here's the newest like Adele track, and it's like I might have listened to Adele like once or twice. Sure, I might like the song. It might be like a great song, but I'm not listening to Adele when I'm just like sitting down to listen to music. It's like, but it's like it's always there. Or like whatever the pop shit is of the moment. It's like it's always on my page, and it's like for you, and it's like that is not for me at all. So it's like, with all this content, you think they'd be able to like, provide me with something that's a little more up my alley. Okay. So this was really, really funny. I think this is the funniest thing that's happened all week. So Taylor Swift gets accused of promoting witchcraft and satanic rituals on her Eras tour. Um, I'm not going to get into this. It's just like a bunch of, weird people. It's like it's not a group of people that are accusing her of this. It's not the church that's accusing her of this. It's just online people on Twitter. This is totally clickbait or whatever. But I just found it so funny that, you know, Taylor Swift gets accused of witchcraft and satanic rituals. Where it's like, it's like probably like the most wholesome uh pop star out there. Like it's just so like it's just so campy and cutesy. It's like, you know, it's just so funny that that's where they go. So if you want, go have this to read. The links in the description of the video. You can read through all of the comments. It's quite funny. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole with you, but it's all there if you want to watch it. So yeah, that's it for the news. I think next week I'm going to make a note, right? Actually, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to make a note I want to deep dive into CRTC. I think that'd be really interesting. I especially want to deep dive into what the CRTC does with digital streaming and what role they have in all of that. So yeah, do a little bit of update on the not for profit. Um, Not much new this week, really. I've just been designing more and more. Like each day, I get a couple more pages done. So basically, I'm just like, uh, there's so much to do. Like like each little thing just has like little mini pop ups and everything. That stuff all has to get designed. So, but every day it's coming together, and then I'm just like cataloging all of it. So when uh, uh, they start on like the user interface and coding and everything, they can just take all that, implement it into their stuff. So it's a super slow process, but it's going to save a lot of money rather than having somebody else do everything. So me taking care of the design is really um, going to save a lot. um, I've also been working on a couple other things outside of that, more events and uh, like marketing kind of designs. That's really interesting. Hopefully, getting partnered with a few people to get those up and running. I could hopefully maybe show next week. I can maybe show some of that. I have some meetings next week. Once that happens, I can share more. But yeah, I've basically been designing two different concepts for kind of performing arts centers, and yeah, it's really neat stuff. And then yeah, that's about it on the not for profit though. There's just like a slow ass process of designing this thing, and right now it's just me. Like I do have a board of directors lined up, and hopefully we can get our first meeting in sometime soon. But coming from like a business um, mindset into like a not for profit mindset, it's just like it's such like a slow process to like get everybody on the same page when you're not paying anybody. It's like much harder to do than when you're like, here's like some money to do this thing. It's like um so it's a super slow process, definitely, I'm finding. But it's cool, whatever. It's once this thing gets going, it's going to be um very, it's like what I don't get about like things like Ticketmaster and stuff, it's like once the thing is built, it's like all of the work is done. Like, like 90% of the work is done. So like why is it like this constant um, you know, fees and everything, which is just like I don't get it. But anyways, so once this thing gets going, it'll just be I can't wait to see what this does for the music industry. So I do have give me a second, I got to bring it up here. I'm going to pop the link into the chat. Do. Oh, bam. And I will just pin this to the top. So that pinned link at the top, that is for episode 10 with Ty Notar, not Ty Notar rather. Let's go over there right now. Boom. Boom. So this is starting at 10 p.m. So click on that link, keep it in the background of a browser. It really helps me out. And just like every other live premiere, I chat in the chat box, and we watch it together. I hit a milestone last week, which was super cool for me, anyways. Um, my last episode hit 100 views in the first week, which is fucking awesome. I look at that like, I'm if you looked at it like a live show, 100 people, you know, came to watch, and that's awesome, especially for only doing this for 10 weeks. That was my not even that was my ninth episode. So I'm really thankful for everybody who tunes in and watches, chats in the live streams. Um, it really means a lot. Really means a lot. Also, all the people supporting the not for profit, working on the not for profit. I just am super grateful for this and the support it's been getting. This is something I've been thinking about doing for so long. So it really means a lot that people are getting behind it and showing it support, because that means to me that other people are ready for these changes to happen too. So that's super cool. Um, with that, I am going to say thank you for tuning in, and make sure to hit that link at the top of the chat, and that will be episode 10 with Ty Notar. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next Thursday.